Nick Ball picked up his 22nd straight win yesterday against the veteran TJ Doheny. He held on to his WBA featherweight title as he made Doheny quit on the stool. But I have to be honest, I expected a lot more from Nick Ball. With massive rumors of a potential Naoya Inoue fight in the future, Ball is going to have to show more power and skill early on. So that brings up the question, just how far can Nick Ball go? But first, this video is sponsored by Title Boxing. That's right, I picked up my first sponsor. I've been using Title Boxing ever since I got into the sport. I have multiple equipment review videos on this channel, from gloves, headgear, groin protectors, amateur uniforms, shoes, everything you could use in boxing, Title Boxing has. So make sure to check out their link in the description. I'm sure you all heard of Title Boxing, but I'm very grateful to pick up a sponsorship by them. Always use their gear, always a big fan of their stuff. So make sure to check out the link in the description. Get all your boxing needs from Title Boxing. I was a fan of Nick Ball since he became champion. He's a small little guy, but the nickname Wrecking Ball does make a lot of sense. He's an even smaller Isaac Cruz, but with a bit more to his arsenal. I've also been calling him to fight Inoue in Wembley, as I really thought that would be a close fight. But after yesterday, I'm not so sure anymore. If we take a look at Nick Ball's career, he's pretty solid at 28 years old. Okay, has a pretty solid list of guys that he fought. Isaac Dogbo, Ray Vargas, which he fought for the WBC featherweight title. That ended up being a split decision draw. Then fought Raymond Ford to pick up the WBA featherweight title. That was a very close fight. Could be argued that actually Ford did enough to win, but it is what it is. Ends up fighting Ronnie Rios later that year in 24. He retained his belt, stopped him, and then fought the veteran TJ Doheny, a guy that I'm surprised he even got a title shot to begin with after getting stopped by Inoue in a smaller weight division. But obviously Doheny is a former champion, and he's a tough guy, right? Definitely a tough guy, a veteran. We saw that yesterday, but I was expecting, of course, Ball not to have that slow start like he did. We also saw that kick where he got frustrated. Ball's kind of a hothead, right? Throwing him down, that kick like I mentioned. But I don't blame him really for that kick. Doheny had him in the headlock. He could have did something other than a kick, but it wasn't even that bad of a kick. Obviously, Doheny flopped like a soccer player, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But he can't really be too much of a hothead. Ball can't be, especially against a guy like Inoue. He needs to stay composed. Can't be losing it. Like I mentioned, he is a bit of a smaller Isaac Cruz, not so much on the hooks, but a small, bulky guy who's going to keep walking you down and keep wearing you down. That's what he did with TJ Doheny. He started to pick up really after about the 5th or 6th round, started beating on him, put that swollen eye on Doheny's face, made him quit on the stool. So it was a good performance yesterday, but I just expected a bit more. Now, we look into Nick Ball's future. The number one fight that everyone's talking about, of course, is Inoue. And I'm just going to be honest with you. At first, I thought this would be actually a close fight. Now, I think Inoue stops him. I think Inoue actually stops him. Inoue is going to be a lot of problems for anybody up to 130 for the next 3 or 4 years. Okay, so I don't know. It was before, if anybody was going to be Inoue, it'd be Nick Ball at 126. Not the case anymore. Still a fight I'd like to see. Maybe in a year or two from now, after Nick Ball proves himself a bit more, beats better guys. Now, who could he beat? Who are some better guys that he could beat? Well, he could fight Stephen Fulton, the WBC champion. That'd be a very good fight. The IBF champion, Angelo Leo, and the WBO, Rafael Espinoza. He could also rematch Ray Vargas. He's the WBC champion in recess. I don't know what Ray Vargas is going to be doing in his future, but Ball versus Fulton is definitely an easy fight that could be made. Okay, they just fought recently. Stephen Fulton fought a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. So that's definitely a fight. Nick Ball could definitely go for the unification bout and make that bout against Inoue in the future even bigger. For a while now, I was really having Nick Ball as the best British boxer in the sport. I mean, he could be up there. Callum Smith, of course, not a champion. Daniel Dubois, of course, is in that mix. But, with him backing out of the Joseph Parker fight because he was sick. And, I still don't think he's going to beat Usyk, but not beating Usyk is not a bad thing. Anthony Joshua out of the mix now. So Nick Ball was definitely up there as the best or one of the best British boxers in the sport right now. But going back to how far could he go, he could definitely do damage at the current 126-pound division. I think he could be a really tough match and beat any of those guys. Fulton, Leo, alright, he could definitely beat those guys. But, I don't expect him to go up to super featherweight. He's a little too small for that. Let's take a look at Nick Ball's height. Okay, he's 5'2". I didn't expect that. I thought he was about 5'4". Yeah, he's smaller than Isaac Cruz. 5'2" for a featherweight is still pretty small, but he's bulky. He has that size. If he was to go up to super featherweight, he's very limited there, man. He's very limited there. He needs to work on his power, needs to work on his footwork, needs to work on his skill, needs to work on everything. 5'2". I didn't expect him to be that small. I thought he was around 5'4", like I mentioned, but geez. So that limits him. How far could he go? Well, he can't really go far with the divisions. I mean, I think featherweight is probably going to be his only division. I mean, if he goes up to super featherweight at 5'2" and wins, then that's going to be one of the more impressive things in boxing history and wins a belt. But 5'2", small dude. I mean, I would just try to stay at featherweight as much as I could, long as I could. I don't know if he has a history of fighting at, junior featherweight in his career. I don't see much of it, but how far could he go? I definitely could go for unification at one featherweight, but at super featherweight, I'm not too sure. Let me know what you guys think of Nick Ball. What's his future entail? Could he beat Inoue? I don't think so. Could he unify in the featherweight division? I do think so. Let me know down below in the comments. I'm out, guys. Peace.